This clip is brought to you by VegasWinners.com. Get expert sports betting advice from some of the best handicappers in the world. Head on over to VegasWinners.com and win yourself some money.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to My World with Jeff Jarrett. And of course, we couldn't do it without the Hall of Famer himself, your friend and mine, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, how are you, man?
Conrad, how we doing today? Another episode of My World, but I just got a funny feeling this isn't just another episode of My World. I don't think any of them are just another episode, but this is our first ever, I guess, shall we say, like I said last week, it's an episode dedicated to a single person, a talent. It's not an event. It's not me pulling out guns and holding Vince McMahon up, or me laying down in the ring because I was tired and didn't want to work with Hulk that night, or any of that kind of stuff. No, today's episode is unique. It's a first for us, not for you. But I'm looking forward to it. It literally spans 30 years. So I get lots of tweets. Hey man, when are you going to talk about Memphis or USWA or Dallas or any of that? So today we're going to check all the boxes: Memphis, Dallas, Tennessee, WWF, little WCW, because we'll have to go there. But yeah, a lot of ground we're going to cover. A Thunderdome, potatoes, all kinds of stuff.
Well, Stone Cold Steve Austin is our topic today. And of course, we're just calling the name of the show Austin 316. If I had to guess, your relationship with Steve Austin begins with his training in Texas with Chris Adams. Is that correct?
That is. And before we get going, I'm sure, and this is, as they say in Mick Foley world, this is the cheap plug, the cheap pop. You've done single episodes with Bruce and JR, I'm sure, and Eric and others on Steve, correct?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah. Many.
But we're not really talking about Steve's career here today. We're talking about you and y'all's relationship.
Yeah, I get that. But I just, again, go to the archives. You can go on YouTube. You can go to ad free. You can go to anywhere you download a podcast and get all kinds of context. But yes, the first time I laid eyes on, at that time known as Steve Williams, was in Dallas, Texas. What was that address? Industrial Boulevard at the Sportatorium. But I was, were you ever in that building, Conrad?
Nope, never got to see it. Would have loved to.
Oh, it's a great, I'll call it almost in the round theater seating, but the ring sunk down. The ring was, when you walked in, you went down steps. So when you walked in, you literally walked in on the back row. But up at the top, they had this little area called the Crow's Nest, where back in those days, heels and baby faces could watch matches together, but you could peek down, and it was right off of Fritz's old office. And then everybody who sort of followed in Fritz's footsteps, Eric Embry, my dad, obviously all the other Texas executives, but you could look down and watch the matches. Well, we were out there during this time, and, a lot of times I would stay Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But Chris Adams, man, this is to sort of set it up. Chris, megastar during the heyday of WCCW, and this is late 80s, so the territories weren't doing so well. So Chris decided to start a wrestling school, and him and my dad went in partners on the wrestling school. But obviously, Chris ran it, but just used the facilities of the Sportatorium, and we advertised to him, so they were partners in it. And his class, first class, had that, and my dad said, "Hey, let's go watch some of Chris's students." And we sat up in the Crow's Nest and watched Chris go through the training sessions, and that's the first time I ever saw Steve.
And what did you think of him as an in-ring performer?
He had several guys in there that were good, and I just, so I'm still only 3 years in the business at this time, around that, as far as actively being the business, 2 or 3 years. But I had known of Chris and, his angle, with Gino, and just Chris was a big star out there. And I always liked his matches and all that. And then here I am seeing Chris teach these students. It was really interesting. But Steve was the standout. Stone Cold. had, I'll call it ring presence. I didn't probably call that at the time, but I'll call it that now. He had ring presence from day one. And Chris was high on him in a lot of ways. My dad, was definitely high on him. He was the standout of the class.
You could tell there was something there though, right away.
Oh, sure. He had just the blonde hair and a swagger about him. Steve's natural gait or walk has some Texan swagger to it. And he had that literally from the beginning. And like I said, Chris Adams was very high on him. And so, as we get into it, and I'll follow your lead here. I just thought of something. We didn't talk about feedback. We got right into the meat and potatoes today, didn't we, Conrad?
We did, man. I feel like you're going to go long in the tooth on this one. Could be wrong.
Watch his on, folks. I think I'm already getting chastised subliminally because I went too long last week.
No.
That's another story. But no, Chris was very high on him. And so much so, obviously not just our territory, but every territory remaining, you wanted new, fresh talent. And Chris Adams and my dad picked Steve to be the first one on TV.
All right, let's run a timeout right now and give you a heads up. Attention, sports bettors. Has anyone ever given you $1,000 before? Well, Jeff, our guest at this time, is trying to do just that. Welcome to the program, the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. It's Wayne Allen Root. Wayne, how are you?
Hey, Conrad. Hey, Jeff. I'm not trying to give you $1,000 free. I'm giving you $1,000 free at vegaswinners.com. That's my website. And I know so many people in the wrestling world love to bet on football. It's an American pastime. It's now legal in most states, a majority of American states. And guys love to bet on football. But I know people get skeptical and cynical. So even though I'm the best in the world, the media calls me the king of Vegas sports gambling, even though I've assembled the best team ever, 21 great sports handicappers at vegaswinners.com, and you have 21 heroes to choose from who all are very good at what they do, I still wanted to give away $1,000 in free winners at vegaswinners.com to make everybody come, register, and do their thing.
Yeah, it seems like you've got it all over at vegaswinners.com. You've got free picks, you've got the best bets, and you're doing it every single day, not just yourself, but 21 champion sports betting experts. Dude, this feels like a deal that's too good to be true. It's fully automated. It's completely private. You'll never even speak to anyone. So go check it out. Get $1,000. Are you listening to that? It's vegaswinners.com. Just log on to vegaswinners.com. That's vegaswinners.com. So let's talk about, and I know we're going to talk about it another time, but what are you specifically doing in Texas at the time?
So, we went out there, gosh, and you're right. This is a whole nother podcast, but they were down and out. When I say they, the Von Erichs, Kevin and Karen.
And who is we? You said they and we, so define those.
Sorry, pronouns. You just chastising right out of the gate. No. So my father was invited out to sort of take a look at their business. And the Von Erichs were 40 or 50 grand in debt to Channel 11, and Channel 11 in Dallas, Texas is a mega station. And that was basically, their bread and butter as far as drawing fans and making, the spot shows run, and it had a strong signal. So long story short, my dad ended up taking 60%. Kevin had 20, Carrie had 20. And so, the mode of operation, we taped the ESPN tapings on Friday night, and Saturday morning we did the Channel 11 taping. And Channel 11 taping were, I don't want to say it was like Memphis studio wrestling, but that's what it was as far as creative storylines. That was building the houses, and we would, basically on Saturday morning we would talk about what's going to happen this Friday night to get them out. So that was sort of we taped on Saturday morning. Free to the people. It packed. We opened up concession stands and parking, and man, we really got that thing rocking and rolling. But that was sort of the business model. Saturday morning free, pay on Friday nights. And so my dad could not be everywhere at once. And obviously we had Tennessee running back here and Lawler was booking that and all that. So I was, for lack of a better word, my dad's right-hand man. Eric Embry was booking, but I was out and I enjoyed it. I was working just about every show we ran, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, until we started the bus trips, which we got it. We'll get into that. But no, so we is, I guess you could say, me and my father. And they is from a management, Frank Dusick was there. Branko Lubich was the rep. He was office. My older brother, Jerry, that's the one and only time he, I guess you could say, put his toe in the business. He moved out to Dallas and ran the box office, watching the money on show days. So family business again. And yeah, that's we and they. I hope I answered those questions. But Kevin and Carrie were the principals of the Von Erich, and they were the owners.
So when you're out there, you're doing a little bit of everything as part of your dad's, quote unquote office, but you're doing in-ring wrestling as well. Did you ever get in the ring and roll around or work with Steve at any point?
No, that was the school. And again, so this is 88. And we started which is another podcast. We'll get into the Texas and Tennessee, the last big Cotton Bowl show where I wrestled Eric, which sort of led into Super Clash. But no, I was working 7-8 times a week. And that's something that, I wish guys today would get that opportunity. But, getting to work in weekly towns, Memphis every Monday, it's different than working in 20 different towns in 30 days. We were in the episodic storytelling in Tennessee, and then out in Texas, we did the Friday night, we'll call it live event, and Saturday morning TV. And then we ran spot shows all around like that. So I didn't get in the wrestling school. I wasn't a part of it. I witnessed it maybe a grand total of 5, 6, 7 times, something like that. I forget what night they had it on or what afternoon, but anyway, I would, observe it, but that was about it.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.